You know those days when you wake up determined to do better, but the hours somehow slip away in noise, obligations, and distractions? When you promise yourself that tomorrow you'll finally focus, you'll finally take control, you'll finally fix the habits that keep holding you back. But tomorrow comes and nothing really changes. For many people, life feels like a constant chase, chasing deadlines, chasing approval, chasing a sense of balance that never seems to arrive. We react to messages, expectations, crises, and urgencies, yet rarely feel like we're truly moving forward with intention. And deep inside, there's that quiet frustration. Why does success feel so inconsistent? Why do we know what to do, but still struggle to do it? This is where the world Covey describes comes alive. A world where effectiveness is not about trying harder, but about living smarter. A world where clarity replaces confusion, confidence replaces hesitation, and values guide actions instead of emotions or external pressure. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, stuck, distracted, or unsure about your next step, this is the book that will help you overcome those struggles. It will help you build not just new habits, but a new way of seeing yourself and the world around you. Welcome to Top Summary, where you learn from successful people, transform your life, and see your growth unfold. If you're new here, we bring you inspiring book summaries and practical lessons to help you grow faster and live better. Stephen Covey begins by explaining something profound. Most people try to improve their life by working on techniques, quick fixes, or hacks. But real transformation doesn't come from temporary tactics. It comes from changing your character, the values and principles you operate from. Covey calls this the inside-out approach, meaning real change starts within you. Your actions improve when your thinking improves. Your relationships strengthen when your integrity strengthens. Your time becomes meaningful when your purpose becomes clear. The book introduces 7 habits. But before even stepping into them, Covey explains that habits are not merely actions. A habit is the intersection of 3 things: knowledge, skill, and desire. Knowledge tells you what to do. Skill teaches you how to do it. Desire gives you the motivation to actually do it. Only when all 3 align does a habit become natural and lasting. It's a gentle reminder that if you've ever struggled to change something, it's not because you're weak. It might just be that one of these 3 pieces is missing. The journey begins with a shift from dependence to independence. Dependence is when you rely on others to make things happen. Independence is when you take full responsibility for your choices. Covey says that people who achieve personal freedom do so by building the first 3 habits. The first habit he introduces is about becoming the creator of your life instead of a passive observer in it. The first major transformation starts when you realize that between stimulus and response, there's a gap. And inside that gap lies your power. Something may happen to you, someone might criticize you, you might face stress. But how you respond is your choice. Covey calls this being proactive. Proactivity doesn't mean being busy. It means taking ownership. It means focusing on the things you can truly control instead of wasting emotional energy on things outside your influence. Imagine someone stuck in heavy traffic, getting angrier by the minute. The traffic is outside their control, but their reaction isn't. Or think of a day when someone's words ruined your mood. The event was external, but the emotional response was internal. Covey's message is simple and powerful. Effective people don't let circumstances decide their attitude. They choose their attitude. They decide their direction. They create their outcomes. You apply this in daily life by shifting your attention to your circle of influence, the things you can directly do something about. Instead of obsessing over who's not supporting you, what others think about you, Or what's unfair? You invest your energy into what you can change: your habits, your skills, your health, your goals, your discipline. And something beautiful happens. The more you focus on what you can control, the more your influence expands. People start trusting you more. Opportunities become clearer. You feel more powerful internally. Personal growth begins to compound. As you move through this first habit, you begin noticing moments in your day when you give up control unconsciously, when guilt controls you, when anger controls you, when fear controls you, when someone else's opinion controls you. Covey encourages you to pause, breathe, and reclaim that space between what happens and how you respond. That small pause is the seed of effectiveness. It's the moment where responsibility is born. Once the foundation of proactivity is built, Covey introduces the second habit, beginning with the end in mind. He invites you to imagine your own life years from now and ask a simple but life-changing question. What do you want to be remembered for? If you were at your own future funeral, listening to people speak about you, what do you hope they say? Not about your career or achievements, but about your character, your contribution, your way of living. This exercise can be emotional because it reveals something most of us overlook. We are often busy, but not always purposeful. We work hard, but not always toward the right things. We chase goals, but sometimes they belong to someone else, not us. Covey emphasizes that effectiveness comes from living a life guided by principles, vision, and values, not impulses or societal expectations. When you begin with the end in mind, every day becomes more intentional. You start asking yourself, is this action aligned with who I want to become? Is this decision taking me closer or farther from my true goals? You stop letting other people's urgencies pull you in every direction. Instead, your inner compass guides you. A simple example of this might be waking up in the morning. Before touching your phone or diving into work, you pause to remind yourself of your mission for the day, the kind of person you want to be, the priorities that matter most. Or imagine you're in a heated argument. If your end goal is a healthy relationship, you choose patience over ego. If your end goal is fitness, you choose a workout over excuses. If your end goal is financial freedom, you choose discipline over impulsive pleasure. Vision becomes your filter. Covey suggests creating a personal mission statement, not a long, complicated document, but a simple declaration of what your life stands for. Something that reflects your deepest values and guides your future decisions. This mission statement becomes your internal anchor. Whenever life gets chaotic, you return to it, and it realigns your direction. The third habit naturally grows from the first two. After taking responsibility for your life and defining what truly matters, you now learn to prioritize. Habit 3 is all about putting first things first, organizing your time and actions around the things that matter most, not the things that shout the loudest. Covey explains that modern life is filled with urgent distractions that feel important but actually are not. Notifications, minor tasks, random messages, other people's priorities. All of these can consume your day if you let them. Effective people operate from quadrant 2, the space where things are important but not urgent. These include planning, learning, building relationships, exercising, reflecting, creating, and preparing. All the things that improve your life long term but don't demand attention right now. Covey says that when you invest in these important but not urgent activities, your life becomes smoother, clearer, and more stable. Problems reduce. Stress reduces. You stop living reactively. Think of someone who never plans, never organizes, never reflects, and is always rushing. Their life feels chaotic. But someone who spends even a few minutes each day planning their priorities will handle challenges with much more confidence. Or consider a person who avoids difficult conversations. The issue may not feel urgent today, but it grows. Addressing it early, even if uncomfortable, prevents bigger problems later. Putting first things first is a daily practice. It shows up when you decline distractions that don't serve your goals. It shows up when you choose consistency over comfort. It shows up when you schedule the activities that elevate your life instead of squeezing them in randomly. Each day becomes a structured expression of your deepest values. Before we continue with the remaining insights, here's something important. If you enjoy our top summaries and storytelling, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this with someone who might need it today. We've got some bonus action items for you at the end, so keep listening. Now, let's get back to the summary. As you master the first 3 habits, something shifts inside you. Your mindset changes. You move from dependence to independence. You stop blaming, you stop reacting, and you stop drifting. You gain the inner strength to lead yourself. And once you can lead yourself, Covey says you're ready for the next phase of effectiveness. Mastering how you work with others, how you collaborate, how you create win-win situations where everyone grows. But this transition only becomes possible because you've built the inner foundation first. When you strengthen your inner world, something remarkable happens. Your relationships begin to change too. You no longer approach people from insecurity or defensiveness. You don't compete for approval. You don't seek to win at the cost of someone else. Instead, you start seeing life not as a battlefield, but as a space for meaningful collaboration. Stephen Covey calls this the shift toward interdependence, the stage where true influence, deeper relationships, and shared success become possible. This shift begins with a powerful mindset, the belief that there is enough success, opportunity, and growth for everyone. Many people move through life with a scarcity mindset, constantly afraid that someone else's gain automatically means their loss. It shows up in jealousy, in competition, in avoiding other people's success stories. But people with an abundance mindset understand something deeper. Life expands when you do. The more you help others grow, the more trust and opportunity return to you. This is where the 4th habit emerges. Thinking win-win. Covey explains that win-win is not about being nice, and it's definitely not about being soft. It's about seeking outcomes where everyone involved benefits, where agreements strengthen relationships, and where dignity is protected. Instead of trying to dominate or avoid conflict, you aim to build solutions based on mutual respect. Think about everyday situations. A colleague wants time with you, but you're busy. Instead of pushing your priorities or completely giving in, you both discuss expectations, timelines, boundaries, and arrive at a solution that respects both workloads. Or imagine negotiating a family decision, holidays, finances, responsibilities. Instead of one person overpowering the rest, you focus on understanding needs, values, and possibilities, eventually finding an outcome everyone can live with peacefully. Win-win creates balance. It eliminates resentment. It builds trust. Covey reminds us that win-win is built on 3 character traits: integrity, maturity, and abundance. Integrity keeps you aligned with your values. Maturity helps you express your needs without disrespecting someone else's. Abundance allows you to look for solutions beyond the obvious ones. When these qualities blend together, you naturally become someone people trust, someone they want to work with, follow, and support. Once the win-win mindset becomes your base, the next habit becomes essential. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Covey calls this the most powerful communication habit of all. Most people don't actually listen. They wait to reply. They judge. They assume. They project their own experiences onto others. But truly effective people do something different. They listen with empathy. Empathy doesn't mean agreeing. It doesn't mean surrendering your perspective. It simply means taking a moment to fully understand the heart, mind, and feelings behind someone's words. To see the world through their eyes before offering your own point of view. Imagine a situation from daily life. Someone close to you expresses frustration. Instead of saying, "That's nothing to worry about," or "Here's what you should do," you pause and ask, "Tell me more. What's making you feel this way?" Suddenly, walls lower. The other person feels heard, valued, and safe. The emotional tension dissolves. And then, when you share your perspective afterward, it carries weight because you've already honored theirs. Covey explains that this habit transforms relationships. Children open up more. Colleagues trust you more. Conflicts become easier to resolve. People feel drawn to someone who listens deeply. And what's profound is that this habit works even with strangers. A few moments of true listening can shift the energy of any conversation. Once you understand others well, your chances of being understood increase dramatically. Your communication becomes clearer, calmer, and more intentional. Instead of debating or defending, you connect. You collaborate. You find shared ground. You move toward solutions. With understanding established, the next habit takes collaboration to an even higher level. Covey calls it synergy, the idea that together, people can create outcomes far better than anything they could create individually. Synergy is not just teamwork. It's the magic that happens when people with different strengths, different perspectives, and different backgrounds work with an open mind. Synergy isn't always easy. It requires humility. It requires patience. It requires the willingness to admit that you don't have all the answers and that someone else might see something you don't. But when synergy happens, the results feel almost effortless. Ideas flow faster, creativity expands, and solutions that seemed impossible become achievable. Imagine a workplace brainstorming session where ideas bounce between people like sparks. No one dominates. No one shuts down others. Instead, everyone builds on each other's thoughts. Or think about any meaningful relationship, friendship, partnership, marriage. When synergy is present, disagreements don't destroy connection. They strengthen it. Because both people know they're working towards something greater together. Covey describes synergy as the highest form of cooperation because it honors differences rather than resisting them. Instead of fearing someone else's strengths, you celebrate them. Instead of dismissing someone else's perspective, you explore it. Synergy turns diversity into advantage. These three habits, win-win thinking, empathic listening, and synergistic collaboration, create a powerful external life. People start trusting you. They feel understood. They feel valued. You become someone who elevates others, someone who builds strong bonds, someone who creates possibility instead of conflict. And as Covey writes, when you master these interpersonal habits, your world transforms. Challenges become easier to solve. Success becomes more sustainable. Relationships deepen. Opportunities multiply. At this stage of the journey, Covey introduces the final habit, the one that sustains all the others. But before we go there, let's make space for a reminder. If you enjoy our top summaries and storytelling, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this with someone who might need it today. And keep listening until the end. We have bonus action items to help you apply these lessons starting today. Now, let's get back to the summary. Covey turns inward again and explains that to remain effective, you must continually renew yourself. Just as tools become dull with repeated use, human beings also lose sharpness if they don't intentionally recharge. This renewal is not about escaping life. It's about strengthening yourself so you can live it fully. And this self-renewal is what he calls sharpening the saw, the seventh habit. Sharpening the saw means nurturing four dimensions of your life: your physical strength, your mental clarity, your emotional depth, and your spiritual grounding. If any one of these areas is neglected, effectiveness begins to fade. Stress builds faster. Problems feel heavier. Habits slip. But when all four are regularly renewed, you operate with energy, confidence, and resilience. Imagine someone who never rests, never exercises, never reflects, never reconnects with their deeper purpose. They may function for a while, but eventually life becomes exhausting. Compare that with someone who takes even small moments each day. A walk, a few minutes of reading, journaling, meditation, meaningful conversation, simple acts that keep their inner batteries charged. Their mind stays clear. Their patience improves. Their decisions become wiser. Sharpening the saw is not an extra activity. It's the foundation for sustained success. This habit gives you permission to invest in yourself without guilt. Eating healthy, learning new skills, spending time in nature, expressing gratitude, these are not distractions. They are fuel. Covey says that the more you care for your inner life, the more powerful your outer life becomes. Each of these 7 habits builds on the others. Together they form a system, a personal operating model. And as you move through them, you notice a shift within yourself. You start responding calmly, thinking long-term, choosing wisely. You stop rushing. You stop competing. You stop seeking shortcuts. Instead, you step into a life filled with purpose, clarity, and confidence. By now, you may already feel something changing inside you. A realization that effectiveness is not a destination but a way of living. These habits are not just instructions. They are invitations. Invitations to lead yourself, to elevate your relationships, and to craft a life guided by principles that endure. As we reach the final part of this journey, something important becomes clear. These habits are not rules you follow for a week and forget. They are a blueprint for lifelong transformation. Each habit invites you to rise above the noise of everyday life and operate from a deeper, wiser part of yourself. And the beauty of Covey's framework is that it doesn't demand perfection. It asks for progress. A little more awareness today, a little more intention tomorrow, a little more courage the day after. And slowly, the arc of your life begins to bend upward. You may notice, as you listen, a sense of clarity forming. Perhaps certain habits feel familiar, like pieces of yourself you've always known but somehow drifted away from. Or maybe some habits challenge you, showing areas where growth is calling your name. Wherever you are, Covey's message is simple. Effectiveness is available to anyone who chooses it. Not through shortcuts, but through character. Not through pressure, but through purpose. The first 3 habits taught you how to lead yourself. They reminded you that your power begins in the quiet space between stimulus and response, the space where you choose who you want to be. You learned what it means to take ownership, to design a life based on values, and to protect your time by prioritizing what truly matters. When you mastered these habits, you stepped out of emotional reactivity and into emotional responsibility. You became someone who doesn't just survive the day, but shapes it. The next 3 habits showed you how to lead with others. They taught you the difference between scarcity and abundance, between listening to reply and listening to understand, between working side by side and genuinely collaborating. Through these habits, relationships become stronger, communication becomes deeper, and teamwork becomes more meaningful. Instead of competing for advantage, you begin creating environments where everyone wins. And in these environments, trust grows naturally. The final habit strengthened the foundation of all the others. It reminded you that you are your greatest asset, your energy, your focus, your emotional depth, your sense of purpose. Sharpening the saw is how you protect your well-being so that you can continue showing up as the best version of yourself. Because a dull mind, an exhausted body, or a disconnected spirit cannot sustain effectiveness for long. The better you care for yourself, the better you can care for your work, your relationships, and your life. Now let's bring together the core lessons. The distilled wisdom that the book leaves with you. The kind of wisdom that stays in your mind long after the summary ends. You learn that life becomes meaningful when you stop reacting and start choosing. That your decisions matter more than your conditions. That vision is a compass, not a luxury. That priorities protect your future. That genuine relationships require humility, empathy, and respect. That collaboration is not about losing your identity, but about expanding your possibilities. And that renewal, emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual, is not optional. It is the engine that keeps your life moving forward. And now, let's translate these lessons into simple daily actions. Small steps anyone can take to embody the 7 habits in everyday life. Begin your day with a moment of intentionality. Before the noise of the world enters your mind, pause for just 1 minute and choose how you want to respond to whatever comes your way. This small moment creates the mindset of proactivity. Throughout your day, whenever you feel triggered, anxious, or frustrated, remind yourself, I can choose my response. That single thought can shift your entire emotional landscape. Take a quiet moment each week to visualize who you want to become, not who others expect you to be. Write down a simple mission statement or a set of values that guide your decisions. Keep it somewhere you can see it. This keeps your life aligned with your deepest purpose. Before starting your daily tasks, identify the 2 or 3 things that truly matter for the long term. Work on them first. That is how you put first things first. You stop being driven by urgency and begin being guided by importance. Practice win-win thinking in your relationships. Whenever a disagreement arises, pause and ask yourself, what outcome would honor both sides? What solution preserves dignity? This mindset builds trust and makes cooperation feel natural instead of forced. Every day, try to listen to one person with complete presence. No interruptions, no assumptions, no rushing. Just pure empathy. You will be surprised how much deeper your relationships become when you seek first to understand before offering your opinion. Look for small opportunities to synergize. At work or at home, ask yourself, how can we create something better together than we could create alone? Even simple brainstorming or inviting someone's perspective can lead to surprising breakthroughs. And finally, take care of your inner and outer world. Move your body, read something that expands your thinking, breathe deeply. Spend time in nature, reconnect with your values. Whatever renews your energy. Even 10 minutes of daily renewal can change how you respond to life. These actions may feel small, but Covey teaches us that small actions repeated consistently transform the trajectory of your life. The 7 habits are not lessons you learn once. They are practices that become part of who you are. And with each day of consistent effort, you become more centered, more confident, more capable, and more intentional. As this summary comes to a close, let this final reflection stay with you. Effectiveness is not about being busy or perfect or universally successful. It's about living a life aligned with purpose, guided by principles, fueled by growth, and strengthened by meaningful relationships. When you live from the inside out, your world begins to shift. You stop chasing life, and instead, life begins to follow your direction. Thank you for spending this time with us today. Remember that transformation doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens in daily choices. Even one habit practiced today can open a door that changes everything. That's the power of Covey's work. That's all for today. We'll continue bringing you top book summaries that inspire change and reflection. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep transforming. Transform your thoughts. Transform your life.